showers and cold plunges, midlife women turned into a target audience. And suddenly, every 32-year-old wellness, fitness, health coach with a ring light is explaining to me what my hormones are doing. Sweetheart, your estrogen hasn't even started negotiating its exit. So let's just slow it down. And as a former trainer, nutritionist, I find myself talking to them from the other side of the screen asking, have you ever had your body wake you up at 3 a.m. for no reason other than chaos? Yeah, I didn't think so. Because there's a difference between reading about estrogen decline and watching it pack up and leave your body like a tenant who didn't pay rent on the way out. I built my identity on discipline. I knew how to eat. I knew how to train. I knew how to push through. For decades, my body responded to effort. Then, one day, it didn't. The workout stayed the same. The food stayed the same. The consistency stayed the same. But the results, yeah, gone. Bye-bye. Softness where there wasn't softness. Exhaustion that no nap could fix. Brain fog that made me question my intelligence. And this is the really funny part, I guess, if it's funny, is that my first reaction was control harder, train more, eat cleaner, track tighter, and add supplements. Optimize everything. Because surely, if something was off, it meant I wasn't doing enough. That was my defense. If I could just out-discipline menopause, I would win. Spoiler, I did not. Here's what I don't see influencers admitting. The fear. The quiet fear that maybe you're becoming irrelevant. The panic that your body, the one you worked so hard for, is shifting without permission. I defended myself with pride. I'm fine. I just need to dial it in. It's stress. It's temporary. I didn't want to say the word menopause out loud. It felt like surrender. And when the mood swings hit, I blamed everything but hormones. When the weight redistributed, I blamed willpower. When the anxiety crept in, I blamed productivity. I kept trying to fix a transition that wasn't a malfunction. And that's the part no green juice tutorial prepares you for. Excuse me. The 32-year-old fitness guru explaining cortisol spikes, she has no idea what it feels like to wake up in a body that feels foreign. She hasn't sat in the car and cried because she doesn't recognize her own reflection. She hasn't felt that strange combination of invisibility and hyper-awareness all at the same time. Sure, she can study the data, but she cannot replicate the grief. Menopause is not just hormonal, it's existential. It asks, who are you when your body changes without your consent? Who are you when youth stops being your currency? Who are you when you can't effort your way back? That is not something you can sell in a 12-week shred. There was a moment, and I don't even remember the exact day, when I realized I was exhausted from fighting my own biology. I was eating perfectly, training perfectly, optimizing perfectly, and I was miserable. I have a little tickle in my throat. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about abs. It was about acceptance, not resignation, acceptance. There's a difference. Resignation says, I give up. Acceptance says, I understand what season I'm in. And once I stopped trying to outwork menopause, something shifted. And before I go any further, we cannot forget about the men. God bless them. They truly do not have a clue. How could they? There is no male equivalent of your entire hormonal operating system quietly powering down while you're still expected to function like nothing's changed. They don't wake up in a pool of sweat wondering if the thermostat is broken or if they are. And if they are smart, they won't even think about touching the thermostat. They don't stare at their own reflection and think, when did that happen? And if they do, they just don't say anything about it. They don't feel a mood swing rise up from their toes and hijack a perfectly normal Tuesday. And yet, they do try to understand, or at least Scott did, and still does at times. And I'm sure there are some that do try to understand. But he would look at me genuinely concerned and say, are you okay? And I wanted to say, define okay. Because okay used to mean energized. Now, okay means I didn't cry in the pantry today. Back then, he would offer solutions. Maybe you just need more sleep. Maybe it's stress. And I would have to remind myself, he wasn't minimizing me. He was problem solving. And most men are wired to fix. But back then, in the thick of it, it wasn't a leaky faucet. It was an entire system upgrade happening without a manual. There were nights where I would snap over nothing. Nothing. And then 5 minutes later, I'd feel guilt wash over me, like, who even was that? And he would just stand there, confused but steady, trying not to make eye contact. And that's the part we don't talk about. Menopause doesn't just test your hormones, it tests your relationships. It tests your patience. It tests whether your partner can sit in discomfort without trying to repair you. And here's what I've learned on the other side, because I am on the other side now. The storm does calm. Post-menopause brings something steadier. The emotional swings soften. Sometimes they're still there, but they have definitely softened. The unpredictability settles. And the conversations get easier because you're not constantly bracing for impact. Scott doesn't fully understand what happened, but he understands me better now, and maybe that's the gift. Men may never experience this physically, but the good ones, they'll walk it with us. Even if they're holding the wrong tool half the time. So here's what I need women in the thick of it to hear. There is light on the other side. And like I said, I am post-menopause now. And no, my 35-year-old body didn't magically return, and that's okay. But something better did. Stability. The hormonal roller coaster has slowed down. The anxiety softens. The unpredictability evens out. There is a groundedness that comes when the storm passes. And no one told me that part. They only talked about the chaos. But there is clarity after the chaos. There is strength that isn't tied to aesthetics. There is confidence that isn't begging to be validated. And there is peace in realizing your body wasn't betraying you. It was transitioning you. And now, I still work out. I still lift weights. I still eat well-ish. I still care. but I no longer punish myself for biology. I don't take advice from women who haven't walked this road, and I do not believe menopause needs to be fixed. It needs to be understood. It needs to be respected. It needs to be supported. This phase stripped me of control, but it gave me wisdom. It humbled my ego, but it strengthened my voice. So if you are in the thick of it right now, if your body feels unfamiliar, if you're trying everything and wondering why it's not working the way it used to, you, my friend, are not broken. You are not failing. You are crossing a bridge. There will come a day when the night sweats ease, when the emotional whiplash softens, when your body stops feeling like a stranger and starts feeling like home again. It may not be the same home, but it will be steadier. Post-menopause doesn't hand you your 35-year-old body back. It hands you something better. Clarity, grounded confidence, a nervous system that isn't constantly on high alert. It hands you a woman who knows who she is without needing to prove it. And I can't help but wonder, what if this wasn't the beginning of decline? What if it was the stripping away of everything that was never meant to define us in the first place? They can keep their hacks. They can keep their ring lights, even though I use one. I walked through the fire, and I came out undeniable, and you can too.